I just hope our dogs can let us get through it. All right. I want to welcome to Hopeful Tribe, Bella Martrice.
Hello.
And Bella Martrice and I actually, so you know each other. We met actually through a different nonprofit called Decolonize Academy. Isn't that how we met, Martrice?
Yeah, we met through Poor Magazine, Decolonize.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I had been involved with Poor Magazine since 1996, which I think was their first year. I'm not sure, pretty close to it if it wasn't. And Poor Magazine was started by our friend Tiny and her mom Dee. God rest her soul, she was amazing. And they actually helped me get housing when I was homeless. I don't know if you knew that, Martrice. Did you know that? Okay. Yeah, I was homeless and I had not met them at this writing workshop they were hosting. I don't know how long it would have been that I would have been homeless because, rent in San Francisco is crazy. And when I lost everything over a 24-hour period, I also lost my ID and all of our documentation. So to get an apartment with no ID, no documentation, kind of hard,
Yeah.
So I'm really blessed that I bumped into Tiny and Dee in the Tenderloin in 1996, and I couldn't be more grateful.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll link to those guys in the description too, because they definitely deserve all the shout outs.
Absolutely.
And Decolonize Academy is actually a school that is at Homefulness, which is an amazing, how do we call it? The Poor People's uh, Land Liberation Movement? Is that how we say it?
Poor people, landless, liberation movement. It's something Tiny's gonna see this and be like, oh my God.
I'm sorry, Tiny. I'll put a link to the Revolutionary Donor button too in the description, just to make up for us messing up the words. Please donate. They're an amazing movement and have helped to house many formerly homeless families. And not just house, I mean, give amazing support, and create amazing literature and other kinds of media.
Advocacy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. They will show up at your house and help you. This is like no other kind of social services you're ever going to find. They are amazing. So
really support mothers. That's what I really like about the organization. Like as far as, because I joined Poor Magazine, I think I was like 17, 18.
Oh, that's right. You were a baby when you started going.
Yeah, and I got to go around, perform poetry. Then they helped me publish my first book. We were like doing interviews, book release parties, performing. I learned like Adobe Photoshop. I got a lot of certifications and trainings from them. And even with my daughter, like she ended up going to Decolonize. That's how we met you, Decolonize Academy, and I was involved in the Poetz, since I was 18 until now. Like we just published the book. You should probably put that one in there. It is, oh my God, it's too. And
I don't remember the name of it.
It just flew out my head. It's about COVID-19, and it was cool because a lot of the youth involved, including my daughter. Like her art was published in it. I wrote poems. They also got a newspaper, so there's a lot of things going on with Poor Magazine. Like that's the best organization and most consistent organization. Really follow their mission statement to help people. They even give out food. organic, without giving you, you know, BS or anything like that. I love Poor Magazine.
Yeah. And if you're looking for somewhere new to donate some of your spare change, I really think it got the cleanest reputation of all the nonprofits I've ever worked with. I mean, they don't waste a penny. And they do a thing to fundraise that I think is brilliant called the why is it called? I'm gonna have to edit this out. It's called, call me Martrice. What's it called?
I know what you're talking about.
The stolen land.
Reparations.
Yes, and rich people actually come out of their houses when we do these things and write checks to the organization for direct reparations to the community. I think that's brilliant. Who else does that?
Oh, and they have a radio station.
Right. Mm-hmm. Let me share with.
I do not remember the name of the radio station. This is so terrible.
I'm gonna share real quick the we call it your book.
What's probably
Tell us a little bit about your book here, and I'm showing on the screen and the link down below.
well, the book is actually interesting because I read the Tupac book and I was like, I want to be like that. And it's about poetry. It's excerpts from other writings, my journal when I was a kid, and just a lot of my thoughts and everything is like a collage of my brain.
Wow, that's cool. Well, I definitely want to read that. I haven't yet. I'm embarrassed to say. Stuff happens. And then I launched a YouTube channel. So God knows when I'll catch up on my reading.
I really like your YouTube channel. I'll be like, let me watch you.
Oh, thank you. I'm having a ball doing it. And I'm like learning so much every day. Every day. And that's a good thing for somebody older to be doing because learning increases your brain elasticity, which usually goes down as we get older. So it's a good thing that I'm suddenly having to learn all these new things. Mm-hmm. So that was a very long welcome that included Tiny Indeed. I love it. That was spending most of our time talking about Tiny Indeed and Poor Magazine, but that's probably as it should be. And I just want to thank you for volunteering to do a coaching session with us that's going to end up live on YouTube. So, fair warning, let me know if you want to stop now.
I know, I'm with you.
I know you are.
You're
one of the bravest people I know, I hope you understand just how amazing you are.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I think for human beings, it's probably impossible to maintain that knowledge like 24/7, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Because life isn't that easy, at least for most of us. It's not that bad. We might talk over direct operations, right?
I'm sorry I didn't hear you were breaking up.
Oh, I said that's why I think it's so amazing that some people offer direct reparations.
You said direct reparation?
Yes. When people do that, it's pretty cool.
That is
cool. Mm-hmm. Because you and a lot of people have had it really hard, and I feel like have carried more of the burden of this white supremacist society that we're living in. And so any kind of reparations make it a little bit easier,
That's why I love the organizations and people who work directly with the community, because it's like you get to receive the services often offered by the mainstream society aren't as helpful. And
Yes.
I feel a deeper connection and sense of healing when I am receiving support from people that are in my community that, you know, really care about the outcome of my life and the improvement and not giving me what I need for it being a part of
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and I really think that that's part of why I've been so effective working in community mental health all these years, is that I would always tailor my services to the people I was serving. So I didn't try to offer everyone traditional therapy because I knew that that wasn't going to work for most people, right? And I think in poor communities, what mostly works is relationships, you know? So when I meet somebody and they're feeling really hopeless, the first thing I do is basically adopt them and help them, just like I do with you, Martrice, right?
I'm adopted.
You thought I was crazy when you first met me, huh? You were like, what is this crazy bitch in the basement?
No way. I was like, oh my God, she's hella cool.
Anyway, I get that reception quite often when I show up in poor communities. Like they're like, oh, you know, because most people have never met anyone like me before. Yeah, when I was in the '90s, when I was young, I was working with gangs in the Mission, and for the first 3 months that I worked with these gang youth, they would just laugh at me every time we had a group. They would just laugh like hysterically. They didn't believe a thing I said. It was like I was speaking a foreign language, but they liked me, so they kept coming back. Right? And then eventually they started getting my vibe and what I was saying, and they were like, "Oh, huh. Yeah, go to college. That could work. Yeah, like go to Disney movies. That could be fun. You know." And it ended up like really transforming their lives. So yeah, I'm used to that. First, when people meet me, they think I'm super cray, and I don't care. So I'm happy to be happy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and just in case you or others haven't seen this before, I wanted to share before we got started the little chart I made that shows the differences between traditional therapy and life coaching, at least at Hopeful Guide, because everybody does life coaching as well as therapy a little bit differently. So the way I put it, it's just a difference in focus. So in traditional therapy, the focus is on mental illness, whereas in life coaching, the focus is usually on well-being. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And then in traditional therapy, we focus more on people's needs and deficits, whereas in life coaching, the focus is more on strengths and resources, you know? Martrice is really creative. That's a strength of hers. And one of her resources is actually Core Magazine because they fully support her creative work. And then in traditional therapy, um, more often than not, people are expected to give expert advice, right? And then in life coaching, it's more collaborative. So I'm working with you, you're working with me, and together, hopefully, we can work through any difficulties that come up. And then in therapy, in a traditional therapy setting, the focus is mostly on the mind of an individual, And in life coaching, it's more the whole person, their mind, body, and spirit in a context of their community. And then in traditional therapy, the focus tends to be more on the past. What happened in the past that gave you problems or continue to give you problems? And in life coaching, the focus is more on the present. So what's happening now and what are we creating in the future? So those are the differences that I came up with. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Cool, cool, cool. All right, now we can get into it. And if you want to know more about me, let me quick share this. I just added this to my website last night. I forgot to share it. There you go. There's a little bit more about me. And my favorite Audre Lorde quotes on there too. Caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it's self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare. So like I mentioned to you before we started, Martrice, exposing your personal life in public like this can be really helpful for you and for others who have similar issues. However, it can also have a negative impact on you emotionally, in that some people feel uncomfortable afterwards. And I just wanted to make sure you understood that, kind of the costs and the benefits, and offer that if you should feel uncomfortable afterwards, I'm happy to process with you.
That's, you know, like, let's go for it.
So, do you agree to work with me today to increase your well-being?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Let's go. What you bringing today? What's up?
Say that again.
What are you bringing today? What's most on your mind?
I would say tackling short-term goals.
Nice.
Battling anxiety effectively. Also depression. And just navigating through the times and with the desired outcome. I want to have my desired outcome. So more or less it's a goal, like accomplishing my goals. Because I notice a lot of times what gets in the way of goals are, maybe it could be ourselves not dealing with our internal issues, or it could be, external, whether it be housing or environmental things, but learning how, like, addressing those things and having desired outcomes.
Excuse my dog's whining. You want to start out by telling us what some of your short-term goals are?
Well, I have classes, and so I have like 2 more classes, and that's it, and I graduate college.
Woo! 2 more classes.
It's been a long time coming. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah, but finishing school, I'm starting a new career, and finding out where I want to be, like really, even if I don't know exactly, like being confident that the steps that I'm taking is going to give me the liberation to make a decision. So I could be in the mental clearness, I can have finances, I can have, what I'm saying, the career, the certifications, and everything else that I have, that I need. Hey, puppy.
This is my co-therapist, or my co-coach, Esmeralda Pie. Yes. I had to let her get up. She was just whining. So, to clarify, since Esmeralda was distracting me a little bit, you want to make sure that you finish school and get a good start on your new career. right? Those are your short-term goals, correct? Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And you feel like what most gets in your way are anxiety and depression, correct? Because those probably, like for most people, will tank your motivation and your energy, right?
Absolutely.
Mhm. That's really normal when you're suffering with anxiety or depression to feel lower energy and to feel a lack of focus. Um, One of the things that has really helped me dealing with anxiety and depression is always starting my day right. You know what I mean? We've talked about this before privately, but we can talk about it again. I feel like if I can start out my day right, like have a really solid morning routine that I don't skip no matter what, right? That I can pretty much be buoyant the rest of the day. Like uh, things people say don't bother me. I have plenty of energy. I can accomplish whatever is reasonable to accomplish, right? Sometimes in my head, I think I can accomplish way more than is actually possible. So, yeah, I think that the morning routine thing is where I want to start with you about this because for me, it's been invaluable to have a good morning routine. And I'm going to share with you mine, but I don't want you to get really overwhelmed when you hear it because this is something that's evolved over years, decades, right? I didn't always do all of these things every morning because what I know about change is that it has to be gradual for it to be sustainable. Okay? I can't change all of my bad habits overnight. It's doomed to fail. You know, it's not going to happen. If you ever have one of those no, come to Jesus moments where you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm saving. I'm going to change my life. I'm not going to do this, this, and this anymore. We're going to have a fresh start, you know?
New person.
Starting on Monday, I'm only consuming 1,000 calories a day. You know? It doesn't work, right? Those kinds of like extreme change plans never work. So I'm going to share with you my morning routine just for inspiration's sake. But I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by it because it's a lot. Okay. First thing in the morning, what I do first, because my highest value is my connection with my higher power, is I pray. So first thing in the morning, it could be real simple. It could just be thank you, Creator, right? And then I start to meditate, which means I don't look at my phone. I don't look at Facebook. I don't do all these other things that could distract me. I just meditate, and sometimes it's just silence. I'm just sitting for 10 minutes or laying in my bed for 10 minutes and just feeling how good it feels to be healthy and alive in my bed. Um, uh, Sometimes I put on music because I find for me meditating with music is a lot easier than meditating in silence. And so I'll put on music that I know kind of relaxes me into alignment with the Creator. Like there are certain songs that have the same vibration as my Creator anyway. And so those songs will put me directly in that zone where I feel super connected and happy, right? And then I usually continue that into the shower. The music meditation will go into the shower. I sure hope I don't wake up my neighbors every morning at 5. But have my music blaring while I'm in the shower. Some of the songs have words, so I'll be singing all loud in the shower at 5 in the morning. But it's great. I come out and I feel amazing, you know, because now I've combined two of my favorite things, music and flowing water. I mean, how could you not feel good, right? And then after that, I sit down and first I make my coffee. And while I'm making my coffee, I also make sure the dog's food bowl and the water are full, and I water any plants in my living room that need watering, right? Because I really feel like touching the earth, even if it's just in pots in my living room, really helps to ground me. Um, and then I go with my coffee back into my office and I journal. And it might just be 5 minutes if I have a lot going on that day, or it could be an hour if I have time, where I am just deepening my connection with my higher power in my journaling. That is where I feel like I have the best conversations with my creator is in my journal, and I feel like it's my super sacred safe place. Like nobody ever looks in there except for me and my creator. That's it. And I can say whatever I want. Also, after I'm done journaling, I actually review my annual goals and
what?
My annual goals.
All annual goals.
So at the end of every year, I take the last 10 days off and I create my annual goals for the coming year. I reflect too during those 10 days off on how the previous year went. And then I create my goals for the coming year. And then I write them at the top of my new journal for the new year. And so every morning when I open up my journal, the first thing I see are my goals for the year. So I can't forget every morning. They're right there. I'm focused from, the first time I sit down with my coffee, I see what my goals are. And if I have made good progress, I acknowledge that, like, hey, you're doing really good on that. Hey, you already did 3/4 of this. And we're not even 3/4 of the way through, right? And, it's just a good thing to have in my mind first thing. And then I also have a virtual vision board. Have you ever used a vision board before?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I have a virtual one, and I just have it all in an album on Google Photos, all of my vision board photos. And in the morning, I'll do a slideshow of all my vision board photos. And I just feel like it's really good to keep that vision alive. And then I do some more prayer, and I do some yoga, and then I do a happy dance, which makes Esmeralda really happy. She sleeps in until
I have to see this happy dance.
What did you say?
I have to see this happy dance one day.
Oh, yeah. Did you see Esmeralda happy dancing online?
I don't think so.
Okay, check it out on Facebook. Very cute. She's very cute when she dances. Anyway, and she looks forward to it every morning. She will not wake up until it's happy dance time. Actually, she'll get up sometimes during yoga and do her little downward dog, which is awesome, amazing. But yeah, that's the whole thing. Pretty long, huh?
Happy dance, shower, journal.
No. It takes me about 2 hours. If I'm being lazy, 3.
That's like music. I know I was thinking as you were talking, I was like, what do I do when I'm like in a be good mood. Music is always involved. I'll say that. Like I'll also shower when I'm getting ready. I'm like putting on my makeup, doing my hair, having music. And I have a journal. Well, I have a million, but I have one I really like. It's called The Mindful Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Oh my God, I love that. That's great. I think I saw the author do a TED Talk.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I like TED Talks.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that I notice that I'm into when I'm, like on it. I'm like, I'm gonna do my journal. I'm gonna make sure I listen to my music. But there's an African proverb. It was like, when did you stop singing? When did you stop dancing? And it was like, identify what it was before you stopped. Like right when you stopped, what happened before you stopped? So if I'm listening to a lot of music, then I'll be like, okay, I need to listen to music. I need to, get to myself more. So.
Well, it sounds like music is the thing that's like really coming to mind as key for your mood management, right? Like you feel good when you're making music or listening to music, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So maybe that's one thing you could implement that wouldn't be that hard. That could be that small change that starts to help you shift your mood first thing in the morning. Does that feel doable?
Yeah. Like in the morning.
Yeah, just first thing before you do anything, start some music. Whether it's yourself making it or some of your favorite artists,
I like listening to it in the morning.
I'm sorry?
I prefer to listen to it in the morning.
Oh, cool. Who are some of your favorite artists?
Well, mood music. It's a song by Mos Def that I love. It's called The Panties. Like I have different playlists for different moods. Like.
Oh, okay. So do you have a playlist that makes you happy?
Yeah.
Cool. And how many songs do you think is on that list?
I don't know, because I add to it. There's times where I've gotten locked out of an account and I couldn't access it no more, so it's fucked up.
Oh, man.
Or I'll go on there and they'll be like, oh, this song is no longer available. I'm like, oh, great. So I'm not sure. But I know one song I really liked was The Panties by Mos Def. And you have to be conscious of the type of music I listen to sometimes. Like there's times where I'm like, I can't listen to any great gangster rap. I can't. Like, so knowing when I'm vulnerable, because like it could be really misogynist. Where I'm already feeling things that I'm like going through my Black woman day-to-day life, and it's real, and it's like I'm hearing this person, they're like, bitch, oh, bitch. I'm like, shut up. I'm hearing you right now. Fuck you too. Like, Black women.
You have to really be careful, especially first thing in the morning, what kind of music you're listening to, because it's going to set your mood for the rest of the day, or it has that potential, right?
Right. It definitely has it could have an influence, but I notice when I'm more mindful, because I have some music to where it's like, I'm like, okay, I have 5 minutes. So literally I'd be like, okay, 3 songs is about, I listen to 2 songs. And so also it's a timer too. So I know how long I'm taking when I'm listening to music. I'm like, okay, 3 more songs, like.
Yeah. Well, that's part of why I asked how long it was, because I actually know exactly how long my my sort of happy high vibration playlist is, because that way I know whether I have enough of it to get through a certain activity, and if I don't, I add to it. Because it really helps me a lot. I think music is my main mood regulator. It really makes a big difference. So So does that feel pretty doable to give yourself, what would you say, like 30 minutes of music time in the morning?
Yeah, I think that's pretty doable. That's
Cool. Because you could be doing other things. You can be making coffee, you can
yeah,
shower.
but listen to music and do that. That's to me. That's what get me going. If I'm listening to music and doing it, like carrying,
Okay,
carrying out different tasks.
cool. So I'm going to suggest you start doing that starting tomorrow every morning. And then I'll check in with you next Sunday and make sure you're still doing it.
Mindful music first thing in the morning.
Yeah, try it. 30 minutes of happy tunes first thing in the morning for 7 days and see how that feels.
Okay, I'm writing this down. Mindful music. Okay.
And you got it? And then I feel like if I go straight from my super powerful morning routine into my most important work of the day, then I'm always going to get what's most important done, right? Because I'm at my best right after my morning routine. So what I do is I go into my hopeful try work right after, and I have it prioritized. So the most important thing I need to do that day, I do it right after my morning routine. And then the rest of the day just flows because I've done the most important, hardest thing that was on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you ever read that book, Eat That Frog?
Mm-mm.
It's a cool time management and organizational book that I picked up when I was, I think, in my early 40s, and I really liked that concept that you should do the hardest thing
Oh, the
and most important thing first thing. Like, get it out of the way. Just tackle it. And so that's what I do. So I think as you're finishing up school and you're starting your career, if you can get yourself in a good place first thing and then tackle your hardest, most important thing first, then the rest is just going to flow.
Yeah, that sounds like a good strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, with the hardest thing that caused the most anxiety, you'd be like, I don't want to do it.
Right? And you should waste all your energy on the anxiety of having to do it, right?
Right.
But no, not if you do it first thing, it's over with.
Right. You don't have to worry about it.
Most days by 8 o'clock, all my hard work is done. Can you imagine? That's pretty awesome.
Just staying with it, like, is staying with it. There's times I'm like, so I'm like, yeah. Then there's times, oh, no, that's the alarm clock. It's tomorrow already. Again.
Well, that's a good segue into the next thing I was going to ask about. How is your sleep?
Oh Lord. I think it's the quality of it. It fluctuates. It depends. But I do notice. Let's see. It fluctuates. There's times I'll just wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, why? Why, God? I went to bed early. Why am I up right now? So I had to think of going to bed early, and it wouldn't even be like super early to where I would think I'll wake up there, at 3, and I would be like waking up like periodically through the night, like. So it depends, but I noticed that when I'm exercising, I have to burn myself out. Like I have a lot of energy. So to being able to place, I noticed, let's say, for example, like I took like a, oh my God, a forever walk yesterday on accident. And like once I ate and had a bath and, then I was tired, like really, really tired. So it was like, when I was like dead. So utilizing my energy, like I'm a very person that needs to be active. Like I have a bike that I need to ride that I haven't been,
That's smart. You know yourself. You know you need to be tired out.
Yeah, I have to be. And I need a nice bath, like some intense exercise and like a really hot bath. Otherwise, I'm like waking up like loving it.
So what do you think gets in the way of that sometimes?
Oh, just different distractions. I think what gets in the way of it? I think forgetting, honestly. Because it's so second nature to where it's like if I'm on a roll and I'm there, that's just what I'm doing. You know, then there's times where it's just like it just falls apart, you know.
Yeah.
I can't really say it's one thing more than another. It's just shit, you know.
So what are your time demands right now? I know you've got a child at home, and so she has needs and stuff, right?
Yeah. She's low maintenance though. Like she's not a very
Yeah, she's older now. She's not like
it's not she's a real
power. Does she cook for herself?
Huh?
Does she cook for herself now?
Yeah, she's starting to cook for herself more.
Cool.
So she knows how, like, she makes eggs when she know how to make pancakes.
Cool.
Like little breakfast sausage and stuff. And it's good because she doesn't really like the way I cook. So she had to learn how to do something because I used to be like, I can't do this food. You don't want it? She'll make her smoothies and stuff. So she's pretty self-sufficient. You know, she bathes herself. She's big.
Good. That's, you know what? My youngest, he started cooking for himself all of his meals when he was 10 because he was so picky, like your baby, so picky. I got tired of making the same thing over and over again. So I was like, look, let me show you how to make these things so you can just do it.
Right.
And so it's good. She's like taking over the cooking. So that's one less thing for you to do. And then, how about school? School is pretty flexible too.
Well, I haven't started this. The next semester hasn't started yet, but I do. I'm still in another class, and what I do is I'm very realistic. Like for me, I perform better when I'm not at home. I just feel like in a library or in a cafe or in an environment where I'm not distracted. Like I feel like my brain when I'm at home is just like, hey, you see those dishes over there? And like, go wash them. I will find a million things to do. And
yeah, a lot of people have a hard time at home getting anything significant done.
Yeah, so it's like at home refocus.
So when you are in school, you said you are in school right now?
Mm-hmm.
When do you tend to do your schoolwork?
Honestly, the best time for me to do my schoolwork is either in the morning or at night.
Okay.
At night because I'm just like, I have been out since I don't have any distractions, you know?
Yeah. But school's pretty high up on your priority list, right?
Yeah, I have to finish that.
So maybe it should be in the mornings because we're going to try to move your most important stuff up, right, in the day. And then how about you calendar some kind of workout in the afternoon after your schoolwork's done? Like after lunch every day at this time, you go for a long walk or you go for a bike ride or you go running or whatever you like to do.
I'm not running. So.
Oh, okay. Some people love to run. They love it. My knees can't do it, you know. I used to be over 200 pounds, so my knees can't do much anymore. I'm just grateful I can still walk on them.
Yeah, I can't. I'm like, if I'm playing, I'm not a runner. I'm like a I need to be chasing a ball or something. I'm like a dog. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And you have a dog, so you could go out running with your dog. I mean, walking with your dog, right?
I
Like
could walk with him, but running, I just never got into running. Like, I could walk, I could speed walk, but just taking off and running, like, I just.
Well, take it from me. It's better on your knees not to run anyway. So
that one.
how do you think that would work if you actually scheduled your workout time at the same time every day and put it in your phone?
I think that probably would be good. I think that'd be good. You know, wake up, boom, listen to my music and stuff, take a bath, blah, and then do the most important thing, the hardest thing. School. Well, when I get my new school schedule, it'll be in the morning anyway, so that'll be perfect.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
And then working out after that, especially after lunch.
Yeah.
Because I generally get like in eating light. I noticed that what has stagnated me is my diet. A lot of processed foods. Then my mood is lower. I'm sluggish. I'm sleepy. After I eat it, I'm like, ooh, I don't want to do that. You know.
Yeah. Oh, you know, another hack you could try for your lunch so you don't go down in your energy is to just eat low carb for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went fully keto 2 years ago to deal with my health problems, and I don't think you have to go that far, but but if you keep it low carb, you're probably not going to have that energy dive in the afternoon.
Yeah, after I came home from my walk, the dog started throwing up. Just like, what the hell? And then I had to wait a little while because I was disgusted. So I'm like, I can't eat yet because I didn't see this. So I just couldn't jump into eating. So it was more or less like, throw up. Okay, let me just get all of this out of my mind. And, you know, like I put his bed in the washing machine and I cleaned up and then I was able to eat after I had to wait though, you know, because I'm like, I was disgusted. So I think too, one thing that has stagnated me is getting distracted. So not having a plan, like when I have a checklist and follow up on my checklist, like I'll have like things I need to do and setting alarms. Like I have to set alarms. Like I'm one of the people to where if I have something to do, I need to set, like, it's like I have an alarm set for my credit card bill. Okay, the credit card bill is due this day. Okay, I have an alarm on my phone to where it goes off on the 19th. So setting alarms on my calendar on my phone to remind me to do things is really
good. That totally works. I would do that, you know, for yourself. It works, right? So you just put in the important things in your phone and routinize it. You know, it's like, it's so easy. You don't have to think about it. You just do it in the order that your phone tells you. You know?
Right. But I think one thing that I don't know, like I get really like, if I have a good pattern, there's times where I just get thrown off of it. And it's like I have to reconfigure myself. So I think knowing when to reset, like how you were saying, like every day you look at your journal. I feel like looking at a journal with goals or things that I need to do and continuously. Because if I do one thing, then I'm out of sync with everything, you know?
Right.
I'm writing all this down, Sue.
Oh, I'm so glad. See, this is how coaching works best. When people are working together and taking it really seriously and taking notes. I've been taking notes too. Because, I mean, I think this is part of the value of coaching. Like, you could have done this by yourself, correct? Like, you could have done everything we did today all by yourself. However, it really helps to have somebody to bounce our problems off of. because maybe they've had these problems and they can offer something that might be useful.
Right, but I think people need to be honest in that, like, I wasn't here. I wasn't at this space, like, I say 6 months ago. You know what I'm saying? It was like, therapy is one thing. I have a therapist. I've been having her for a long time now, but I don't talk to her often, as often as I probably should. My support system is predominantly outside of the Bay Area. And, you know, I was having a lot of panic attacks, like 2000, like I was having bad anxiety, really bad anxiety, panic attacks galore. I was like, I'm about to die. And, you know, everybody was going through a really hard time when it came to, what is it called? The coronavirus. There was racism. Then they were showing these killer hornets online, and it was a really hard time. You know, I lost a lot of people that I, you know, knew, grew up with, cared about. Actually had stopped like 2 or 3 people from committing suicide. Like, even things that were like going to the store and seeing all the craziness and having to wear masks, and there was a lot of crime, and it was just a lot of stuff going on. As a woman, I felt vulnerable, but it made me more vicious. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, well,
you know, you had to defend yourself, right? So,
right, but I went into a whole role. I was just like, crazy bitch. But it's scary because, you know, you had a lot of people who was out here who, it's a trip because I feel like being like a mental health consumer, I have to check myself. Like, I seen people, and it was just like, I've seen a lot of people on the streets, a lot of people going through things. People are automatically saying, oh, that person's on drugs. You don't know what is going on. They're probably on pharmaceutical drugs. And within the improper support systems and stuff like that, like, it could be scary from the outside looking in. From the, did I say it right?
Yeah,
okay, it just sounded weird the way it came out, but you know what I'm saying? Like, having people who, you know, who mental health was triggered during that time. It was, when I walked out, it was just like a lot of people were being let out of mental institutions who didn't have proper support. I mean, it was a lot of, like, out here, you know, you had a lot of people who was going through that. So,
yeah, you know, the last year,
like, I ended up going to a psychiatrist because of all that craziness I was feeling.
It was nuts. It was nuts.
Yeah, it was nuts. But what I'm saying is, I went to a psychiatrist after that, and I had took some pills. So I was crazy for about 8 months. Like, literally, they threw me over. Like, they made me crazy.
Oh, no, the pills made it worse?
Yeah, I went and got some anxiety pills. Insomnia and all that kind of stuff. It was like a one pill fits all. And I took 2 of them. I swear, it gave me night terrors. It gave me all that, like, worse anxiety. I was scared to go to sleep. Like, I would be like, oh my God, I'm about to have these crazy ass dreams again. Like,
that is rough, Martrice. I think that I really appreciate your sharing that story, because I think a lot of people will be able to relate to the crazy COVID-19 year. It's been really rough, and I'm concerned about people recovering from it. I think that even people who I knew that used to be stable are not quite as stable as they used to be. And then people who weren't stable before, they really struggled. So I appreciate you sharing that.
well, I was sharing that because it's like it's easier now. Like, if we were trying to do this like 8 months ago, I got a lot of been drunk. That was like a coping mechanism. So there's different things that I had. I mean, literally, I was trying to drown out them damn pills. I was like, how do I not feel like what that made me die?
Yeah.
I was crying. But it took for me to get here. Do you know what I'm saying? It was like me having goals. I was like, okay, this is because I had my friends and stuff, and I was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, this is what I'm going through.
Martrice, I think that's one of your strengths too, is that you are so self-expressed. You never hold back, right? Never. You're just like 100% real, 100% of the day. You know?
When I was like, and it was just, but it was very hard because navigating having, you know what I'm saying, anxiety and stuff like that, and dealing with, like, when you have mental, you have a lot of stigma. And I feel like sharing you have to be brave, but also, like, it's so hard to protect yourself when you have like mental health issues and you're going through like a mental health crisis, because people use that against you.
Yes.
And they will use that against you. Like, I have a friend, literally, she gonna say, "Oh, run suicide drills." I was like, "Look, bitch, I ain't never been suicidal, but like, and how were you a friend ever?" So it's like when you share the reason why I'm so open about it is because I feel like a lot more people probably will be less likely to commit suicide, or maybe somebody who are being an asshole. They'd be like, "Oh, that crazy bitch." Maybe they wouldn't say things like that if I knew how it affected people.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a lot of people don't understand, like, struggling with mental health and stuff like that. A lot of people are very good at pretending like they're not struggling with it.
You know what I was just thinking, Martrice? I think that I need to have you back on for one of my interview shows, and we can just talk for an entire hour about the stigma against mental health consumers. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think I'll have a ball with that because I have a whole bunch.
Well, we're going to
still talk about the history of women of color and women in general when it comes to mental health. Like, I think a lot of it doesn't, like, a lot of people really don't know the history of mental health in America.
Yeah, let's do that.
Very racially and like
Another hour. Oh, we could do a talk on Clubhouse about that too.
You be on Clubhouse?
I just got on. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm going to bring us back to what we were talking about earlier to finish up this coaching session, because we're recording. We can talk more about the other things after, because I can hit record and we can keep talking. But so I wanted to make sure that I got everything that we worked with today. So for the next 7 days, you're going to start out your day with some happy music, right? For at least 30 minutes. You might also check in with your journal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the only thing that you 100% committed to today was the music, and I think that's good because.
No, I wrote down everything.
I'm sorry?
I wrote it down. I want to commit to everything so that I could just see it.
Do it. Cool. So then also you decided to do your school work in the mornings after your morning routine, and to do your a good amount of exercise in the afternoon so that you're going to be able to sleep well at night. And you're going to schedule these things in your phone so you don't forget, because it's easy to get distracted.
I'm like a moth.
You're like a what?
A moth.
A moth?
It's turn on a light bulb and be like, hey. Light.
That's
check it out.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I think that's huge, the amount of change you've committed to. And I totally look forward to checking in with you next week about how it went. So I'm going to put it in my calendar so I don't forget.
Uh-oh. You're gonna be like, tell me, Keith, how did your workout go?
When I'm first thinking about making a change, I don't talk to anybody about it. And then when I'm ready to make the change, I tell everyone about it, because that way they're going to hold me accountable. to what I said I was about to do.
I know. So if somebody see me, they gonna be like, "Hey, girl, we see you on YouTube. Did you work on today or not?" I see you on Facebook.
I think it's an accountability tool. You know, you just said to everybody in God that you're about to do this thing. So
I'm gonna put it on. I'm in Facebook jail. On Facebook.
I love it. I just really want to appreciate you for coming on and doing this with me and letting me post it on YouTube. You're awesome.
Oh, believe me, Sue. I've had my time of posting.
This won't be the most outrageous thing that you ever posted online.
I don't care about the online shit. I'm a human. People need to stop. Like, I'm very flawed.
Right? Right? We're all very flawed. We're human. That's our nature. And we're all pretty awesome too. You know, I think that humans are amazing. Because sometimes we get so hurt that we sort of fall out of balance with our true nature, you know? Which is why I usually say dogs are the best humans. Because
I'm like, if no one else loves me, my dog does. He thinks I'm the best.
Right. That's right. Oh my gosh, let me put my glasses on a second. I added this thing. Let me find it. I gotta do this as we're ending our stream.
Yes.
With Miss Esmeralda Cameo. That's Essie doing her happy dance.
I'm gonna gotta teach my dog.
Right? I'll come teach him. That's so fun. Yeah, totally.
When I get closer, you gotta come teach him. You could be his doggy godmom.
There you go. I will be his doggy godmother, grandmother, whatever he wants me to be.
Okay, he's the love bug.
All right. Well, I will see you soon, Miss Martrice.
I'll talk to you on next Sunday.
All right.
All right. Have a good day. Thank you, Sue.